Terrika Foster-Brasby. Thank you for joining me today live in studio. I'm so excited and pumped from the first day of the WNBA playoffs. And this particular game that we're about to talk about may have been one of the most surprising, I think, of the day. I don't think we expected, I didn't expect for Lynx, the Minnesota Lynx, and Phoenix-Mercury to come down to the very end.
Yeah.
I didn't expect for some of the game high scorers to be the game high scorers who they were.
Yeah.
So we will get into all of that, but that game was riveting, okay?
Yeah.
And I was actually in Connecticut covering the Sun Fever, and I didn't want to leave until I finished watching that game because I'm like, I don't want to start driving. I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
It was so good. So it started off, with the Lynx, jumping out to a lead, which we know them to do. But what also happened is something that they typically do, and that is let off and let teams back in. I think you've seen it with the Connecticut Sun before. They did it with the Liberty recently when they just played them, and they did it last night playing the Phoenix-Mercury, and maybe it's Diana Taurasi saying, I'm not going out like that, right? Because she sort of had a vintage game, but it was Natasha Cloud.
Yeah.
I mean, stepping up. Natasha Cloud, have yourself a game.
Yeah.
I mean, she was tremendous, and she really helped propel them to come back from a big deficit and at one point take the lead in the fourth quarter.
This is not the first time we've seen that kind of performance from Natasha Cloud. And not sure who remembers, but just a year ago, Washington, when she was playing for the Mystics, were down in a series, and literally Natasha Cloud put the team on her back against the New York Liberty in New York. She had a 40-point performance. She was not ready for this Washington team to be done. And I also think a bit of that had to do with the fact that she knew she wasn't returning. She wanted to go out with a bang. I say that to say Natasha Cloud is one of the best defenders, one of the best defending guards in this league, and she is certainly someone who has often wanted to be considered a scorer. She showed us what she had on Sunday night, but I am not surprised in so many ways that this Phoenix team showed up in the way that they showed up, because for majority of the season, I've been confused on what Phoenix team they actually even are. There are moments where this Phoenix team looks as if they are absolutely one of the top 4 teams in the league. And then there are teams when this Phoenix team is like, did y'all come to play today? Did you guys know that there was a game today? When you have 4 champions in your starting roster, which you do with Natasha Cloud and Brittany Griner and Diana Taurasi and Kalia Copper, you should look the way that you looked yesterday. To your point, Minnesota let up. Minnesota let things drop that they shouldn't have let things drop. But can you tell me how Bridget Carleton continues to be as clutch as she is? She
incredible.
Just did the same thing against
incredible.
Connecticut a week ago. She did the same thing against the Liberty. Bridget Carleton is like, yo, you leave me out here. And I mean, she wasn't even close. It wasn't like it was a close perimeter three. She was quite literally at least 2 human beings back from the 3-point line.
Sure.
She is so incredibly clutch that I think the game was already probably leaning towards Minnesota, but that was the dagger.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just really speaks to how well Cheryl Reeve built this roster over this season. They brought back 5 players, but adding players like Bridget Carleton, like Alana Smith, like Courtney Williams, who also had a moment where when
she was very key.
She was so key. She came in the critical moments. One of the most dangerous mid-ranges in the game. It was just really important for them to support Napheesa Collier in that moment because they were slacking.
Yeah. Kayla McBride had a good game too. You mentioned Courtney. She was instrumental in helping to steady the hand when their offense just seemed to go off the rails. But you mentioned Napheesa Collier too, the MVP runner-up. But you know what? She had the definitive MVP performance yesterday.
She did.
Okay, like Napheesa Collier, I was like, woo, okay. Welcome to the playoffs, Napheesa Collier. 38 points, 11 of 19, 3 of 5 from 3, 6 boards, 4 assists, a +9. She was tremendous, you know. But yeah, they have to avoid Carlton at all costs. I feel like any team, if they get into a clutch time game with Minnesota, she's queen clutch. She hits all those big shots. And Nafisa always comes in and is just steady because she came in, she hit shots she needed to. And what I do like about them, I don't love this trend of them letting up and letting teams back in, because I do. And I know it is natural to game of runs. And I know that when you have such a big lead, it's almost normal. It's natural. It happens. Yeah. And with a 3-point line, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But they have been very good at, no matter what, pulling out those games. When they just need to lock in and go into clutch time mode, they do it. And they've pulled out wins before the season ended against some of the top teams. And they did it again yesterday, against the Phoenix-Mercury. And, I feel like that was the game the Mercury needed to steal. I'm not going to count out a team that has champions on it. There are multiple champions on the Phoenix-Mercury. But I do think if they wanted to, really have a chance at maybe winning this series, they have to obviously win one on the road. I feel like game one was the one to steal, and they had it. It was right there.
You know what? I am going to semi-agree with you, because I do believe that this Phoenix team, of all the teams in the postseason, this might be the one team that can absolutely force a game 3. But I don't think it needed to be game 1. I think they still have a very good opportunity here in game 2. Only because, again, we just don't know which Phoenix team is going to show up. And if this is the Phoenix team that showed up but starts the way that they finished in Sunday's matchup, this could very well go out to Phoenix to close it out for a game 3. Also, because I am a mini conspiracy theorist, in my head, I just know Diana not going out like that, right? Like, in my mind, I'm like, Diana is going to push this thing back to Phoenix, because if this is it, I am going to remind y'all who I am. She had 21 yesterday. She got 40 in her. I'm completely sure she's got 40 in her. So I'm expecting this team to really put on a show and give Minnesota something to force a game 3. I don't know if Seattle has that for the Aces. I feel like they might, but I'm not sure. I definitely don't think that Atlanta or Indiana will force an elimination game, but I have a strong inkling that even in this situation, Phoenix has what it takes to really make Minnesota earn it. And Minnesota can earn it, but I think Phoenix has what it takes to push them to the limit.
Yeah, I mean, look, you have Brittany Griner, you have Diana Taurasi, as you mentioned, Kalia Copper, a finals MVP. Listen, they, like I said, they are a team full of champions. I have Minnesota making it to the finals. So, whether they win in 2 or 3, it's good to be battle tested. And if you're going to be battle tested by anyone, this would be a great team. I'm sure everyone would love it. Even though for years she has terrorized the league, no one now at this time is ready to see Diana go. And we don't know definitely if she is, but the final game of the season felt like a farewell game. Gino was in attendance. A lot of people were in attendance.
Yeah.
She gave a speech. We've been seeing posts from the Phoenix-Mercury saying, if this is it.
Yeah.
And we didn't see that last year. So, what do you think, Terrika? Is this it for Diana Taurasi?
I thought this was it at the All-Star break, if we're being honest. I came into the season thinking this is Diana's last year. So maybe I'm a little bit ahead of the game because I've been prepped for this moment. But when I saw that the All-Star game was going to be played in Phoenix this year, I said, oh, this is absolutely a farewell tour for Diana Taurasi. I went to a few events during All-Star weekend, and I saw some former teammates and, Ashley Battle, Swing Cash, Asia Jones. I said, oh, this is absolutely, she's going to announce it. She's going to announce it. I just know it. And there was no announcement, but my heart still felt like this could be the end. And then here it is. We are at the end of the season, and we're starting to see the hints being dropped. Realistically, if this is it for Diana Taurasi, job well done. You have done so much for women's basketball in terms of not only how you played the game, but how you inspired other people to play the game. I get a chance to cover DeWanna Bonner, who was a rookie to DT when she first came in the league. And she says to me every time I ask, she is the person who showed me how to be a champion. She's the person who encouraged me to be a champion. And even to this day, after 15 years of being in this league, I still look at Diana as someone who continues to inspire me to play the game at a high level if you're going to continue to play. And to be able to play this game for 20 years in the same jersey, in the same city, like that in and of itself is something that you don't see in hardly any sport, NBA or WNBA, right? So to play for 20 years, to play at the highest level, to be sitting number one in scoring, which you're gonna have to play for 25 years to break. Asia, you're gonna have to play a few more years, sis, to break that record, okay? So we're gonna need a few more thousand scoring seasons from you. But I say that to say that no matter how you felt about her, no matter what you felt about her as a competitor, whether you liked her, whether she annoyed you, whether you were tired of hearing her name or not, what you cannot do is deny how much Diana Taurasi meant to the game of women's basketball and how much people will indeed miss her when she does decide to hang up her sneakers.
Absolutely. I was watching the pictures as they flash across the screen. I'm just like, Diana played with Dawn Staley.
Everybody!
Like, that's crazy. That's wild.
20 years.
She's a trailblazer, and she's one of the pioneers. She's definitely helped to advance and move this game forward. And look, you've said it all, so I don't need to repeat it, but she definitely will be missed. And I think it's, I'm going to sort of equate it to the NBA a little bit with the late Kobe Bryant, because obviously she's the White Mamba. Right? But I couldn't stand Kobe when he played. He annoyed me, he irked me. I really didn't like him. But in the ending of his career and even after his career, I really developed this great appreciation for him and his basketball mind, his knowledge of the game. And as you know, I've been watching Diana the last couple of years. I can't say that I was someone who couldn't stand her, but some of the things she does is so funny, wrapping up all the texts, the stuff that she does. You look like she was a menace, but she also was just an incredible competitor. And you will absolutely miss that, her spirit. She's ferocious. So, and seeing her with her children and just giving that speech, and the posts that have gone up from the team about her, it's really been emotional. It's been an emotional week between Asia and Diana. It's been so much.
But you know what? The game is changing, and some of us old heads who are used to seeing who we've been seeing and who we equate to WNBA basketball, the game is just changing. And that means that those players who we've loved, at some point we have to recognize that they're going to hang it up. And so to have potentially two players who have meant so much to the game call it quits in 2024 is what makes it. And there's this question of, well, is Diana really going to leave without a farewell tour? I would say the same thing that I said about her, that I said about Candace Parker. She don't need y'all fake love. They just don't need the fake love. If you didn't really mess with them while they were playing, if you didn't really show them the appreciation that they deserved while they were playing, why does she need to get it now that she's about to leave? She don't need the fake love.
But I think it's for the fans who do love her.
Well, I mean, the fans who do love her, y'all better drop them on social media now, honey, because Diana finna be out. And I could see, I do hope that she still continues to give back to the game in some way. Her wife is still working at the executive level. So hopefully she still continues to give back to the game in some way. I hope she gets into TV, because the Bird and Taurasi thing that they do during the college NCAA Final Four is hilarious. So maybe that's her contribution. But I do hope that in some way she continues to elevate the game of women's basketball after her career is over.
Absolutely. Well, we know we have at least one more game of the White Mamba, so I am looking forward to that. And if it is time, the time.
Fee had me cracking up talking about, I hope we end her career on Wednesday.
That was hilarious.
Oh my God, that was so. We know how you meant it, Nafisa. Yes. We know how you meant it,
because she came on X to clarify. We're not trying to throw Nafisa under the.
We know how you meant it, Fee. You and every other Lynx fan also hopes that her career ends on Wednesday.
But if this is it, we will sit in enjoyment, and then we will also send a proper farewell to Diana.